Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. This is You, Me, and BTC Live, episode number 200. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. Could you hear that?
Yeah. I was
All
like,
right,
did I already start the YouTube video accidentally on another page?
You get two of me now. That's because I think, I'm not sure. I think it's because I disabled third-party cookies on all websites, which means YouTube doesn't work on my normal website on youmeandbtc.com. So I had to go to the actual YouTube page to chat because I don't have anyway. It's actually a great topic because today is all about privacy. I put it in the show notes. We call ourselves a Bitcoin and Liberty podcast. And an important part of Liberty is privacy. That's a lot of people in Liberty like privacy, talk about privacy, security, freedom, that kind of stuff, including us. And that is what we're going to do today. We've done plenty of episodes about this stuff in the past. I linked to some in the show notes about whitelists and blacklists and anonymity, and we've covered it all countless times. But there's some news going around about Bitcoin, about privacy stuff, about secure messaging. We're going to cover Signal as well and their breakup-ish with Amazon. That's all coming up. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker, who is astounded right now.
Why are you astounded?
You had to you didn't have your audio fixed last week, right?
Correct.
Okay, I don't know. I was just saying, point out that Daniel's back with us in crisp, clear, and no longer having to listen to his computer run in the background.
Oh yeah, I got fresh equipment all around. New camera, new monitors. I even have a second microphone over there, and I'll keep that a surprise for now. You'll figure out soon enough why I have two mics now. So yeah, I only have one desk at the moment. I have more desks coming so that I can actually kind of coordinate a studio in this area. So we'll get there, and it'll be a learning experience for the next few weeks to make this place look as dope as possible. And I'll have to obviously get the old silk toad behind me again, all that fun stuff. So this show is brought to you by our wonderful sponsor. We've had them for a couple months, I think now. Yeah, a little over 2 months, something like that. Chronologic.network. This is an Ethereum-based project that is working. Basically, it's all kinds of time-related innovation on the Ethereum blockchain. They have debt smart contracts. They have an Ethereum alarm clock, and they have tools to help with some of the issues of token sales, token releases. Those, when those get incredibly busy, then sometimes they have issues and the right people can't buy the right tokens at the right time. Chronologic.network is working on solutions, all kinds of temporal innovation on the blockchain, they call it. Check them out at chronologic.network. Tim, have you heard any of this Amazon versus Signal stuff? They put out a blog post just a day or two ago, so yeah, I don't know if you would know about it.
Is that a comment on my lack of awareness as to what's going on around me in any discernible way that makes sense to me?
Kind of, but I wasn't. I seriously though, I wasn't being negative. Like we've joked about this all the time. Like what we joke how all we get is our news from Twitter, and we don't actually care about the mainstream media. So I'm not blaming you one bit. I just hey, is my audio clipping at all? I'm getting a red ring around my mic here, which means it might be a little hot.
Maybe a little bit. You could back off a little bit. I'm not sure how
Right.
Let me listen to the YouTube. I'll do that as I talk, or at least I'll try.
This is going to be great. Tim's going to try to listen to himself and change the audio and tell a story about Signal and the mainstream media all at the same time.
I swear to God, I'm still watching the video right now. Definitely, he's talking.
Hey, but actually, seriously, before we do get into stuff, I want to remind everyone the place to be tonight is youmeandbtc.com/live. I want you to jump in the chat. Let us know your thoughts and comments all throughout the show, because that will give us an opportunity to respond, to share them on the show, let other people know what you think about privacy, what you use for privacy. So do that at youmeandbtc.com. Unless if you happen to have third-party cookies disabled, you can't chat there. So just click on the title of the YouTube video and you should be able to chat on youtube.com. If we slow down a little bit later in the show, Tim, remind me to explain third-party cookies. They always say don't take food from strangers, and so that's why third-party cookies are bad.
That includes cookies. Do not take third-party cookies from the man down the street.
Also, we got there quite a few show notes. I don't know why. I just happened to write long paragraphs today. And some links to the stories we're going to cover, the services that we're going to cover, and stuff like that. And our poll at the very bottom. I thought there was anyway. Maybe I just need to refresh. Yep, there it is. So our poll's at the bottom. We are wondering, well, we should tell our story before we ask this question, because they're related and you have to know the story first. So Tim, go ahead, take it away. What were your thoughts on Signal?
Well, I want you all to know that you need to know nothing. Society is built upon people knowing nothing. Anyway, no. What I was saying was I was surprised I hadn't heard it on Twitter. Partly because
I follow Signal app. It's at Signal app.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
you want to just tell people what Signal is in case they don't happen to know?
Well, no, it's secret. The less people have it, the better. It's going to go main. No, Signal is, I guess, end-to-end encrypted, I believe would be the phrase for whatever they do.
Yeah, that's a good word. $5 word right there.
Oh, great, $5. I think I'm worth more than that. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting myself up too high. Anyway, encryption end-to-end, so it's not supposed to be like something like there's like shittier versions. I think I can't think of any of them now because I've kind of just generally avoided them, but like the people kind of consider anonymous or something like WhatsApp. Like it's obviously they don't consider anonymous, but then people like, well, don't text, but like just use WhatsApp for this. So what? But no one, if anybody's tapping you, if they're looking at any of this shit, they're finding it. It doesn't matter. Like, even,
I mean, they do claim, or I believe WhatsApp. I know Facebook Messenger for sure, and Facebook owns WhatsApp, so I believe WhatsApp. But they do claim that they use the exact same Signal protocol, and Skype is supposed to implement that as well over the next few months. They announced that a few weeks back. So these other people do claim to use this hardened, audited, secure, end-to-end encrypted messaging protocol. But I totally agree with you. It's, when you hear that, you got to, no thanks. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, you just don't know how they implemented it. You don't know if they did it right, whether they messed up on purpose or accidentally. I got a notification from Twitter just like 10 minutes ago that they stored accidentally, they stored passwords in their logs. So the way passwords are supposed to work is that even people at the company, okay, even people at Twitter, even people on, even my website, even logging into youmeandbtc.com, I can't actually see your passwords. Now, that's a whole encryption thing. If you want to know how it works, look it up. We don't have time to cover it, why it works now. But Twitter is like accidentally, let's just log all of these passwords, and then people could see them. So my point with that is just to say that no matter how big the company is, no matter how much you love them or believe in them, no matter how secure they claim to be, they could do it wrong, even if they do implement the Signal protocol. And that goes for Signal as well, the actual Signal. Even then, you don't know. It's just, we said last week, you risk everything. So, or everything involves risk. So,
yeah. I'm trying to remember. Like, is there anything more to explain about Signal? You like exchange keys. Nobody else is supposed to have your private key. Like,
right.
That's the most thing that I notice. Like, I don't like that they necessarily changed it so that they just kind of just do it automatically now with new contacts. but I did like, at least, like, again, compared to something like WhatsApp where they had you change the keys. I mean, I don't like, obviously somehow they could then, oh sure, you change your keys, but we still have them or something like that. Their whole thing is they don't do.
No, theoretically, no. Theoretically, the keys never leave your device unless they screw
That,
up like Twitter and
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Theoretically, like, the worst, I liked before they did make you actually send the keys versus something where it just automatically does it. Because I'm always just like, I didn't ask for, like, I signed something at the beginning, but then that makes it seem too much like the rest of the stuff. I haven't heard exactly what's going on between them and everything.
Okay.
So
yeah, let's get
maybe
into
that.
this news before people start disappearing. Yeah, so what happened was, I guess I'll boot up the screen share here. Give me 1 second so we can kind of scroll through the blog post together. What happened was, Signal has been using this technique for a couple of years. I think they said around 3 years. It's called domain fronting. And what it does is allows your service, whatever that may be, a website, an app, or whatever, it allows your service to use someone else's domain name. In this case, they did the same thing with Google and with Amazon. So it was a story a year or two ago. It was a pretty big story how they were evading censorship in Egypt by this technique called domain fronting. And I don't have to get into all the technicalities, but the bottom line is what it does is it runs your app on, say, Google owns App Engine. So, your app might run on appengine.com or whatever, maybe it's a subdomain appengine.google.com or whatever. That's an extremely common practice. A ton of people use App Engine, and if that involves using their domains for different purposes, their websites. The benefit for Signal there is if they're using Google's domains to run their service, then for Egypt or any other country to block Signal, they would have to block all of Google. Or a giant chunk of it. Anything that runs on appengine.com, which it's not just Google, it's like a ton of websites and apps and services run on App Engine. So they would have to block like half the internet if they were going to block Signal. And that's cool. I mean, they figured it out. They made it work. And they say somewhere in this blog post that they didn't even need, the user didn't have to do a single thing. The user just use their app like normal, and it just happened to work, even though Signal is blocked in Egypt, or it wasn't actually blocked because they were using Google's domains. That is their technique. They did the same thing when they switched to Amazon because, I read this and I forget exactly why they quit using Google and switched over to Amazon. I should find it. When Google, oh yeah, here I'll read it. Yeah, it's under an Iran heading. So Iran is another country where this is going on. I'll just read these 3 paragraphs here because they're really informative. Direct access to Signal has also been blocked in Iran for the past 3+ years, but it was not possible to use the same domain fronting technique there. In an apparently unique interpretation of U.S. sanction law, Google does not allow any requests from Iran to be processed by Google App Engine. Requests would get past Iranian censors, but then Google themselves would block them. So what they're saying is Google censors themselves in Iran. So it's not so much the Iranian censors that are causing a problem, it's Google themselves, because for whatever reason they're interpreting this law, they don't think they're allowed to operate in Iran. And so Google is censoring themselves entirely in Iran. In early 2018, a number of policy organizations increased pressure on Google to change their position on how they were interpreting the law so that domain fronting would be possible from Iran, but the lobbying efforts had the opposite effect. When Google's leadership became more aware of domain fronting, it generated internal conversations about whether they wanted to put themselves in the situation of providing cover for sites that entire countries wish to block. Tim, I'm going to ask you about this after I read this last sentence here. I want to know, if you were Google, and everyone else in the chat too, let me know what you think. If you were Google, would you, and same thing for Amazon, because you understand the risk there. They're providing cover for services that this entire country hates so much, and that's got to put them at odds. So I'll ask you in a second, but to wrap it up, a month later, we received 30-day advance notice from Google that they would be making internal changes to stop domain fronting from working entirely. So that's the story about Google. Then they switched to Amazon, and we'll get into that in a few moments. But yeah, Tim, what the heck would you do if you were Google? Would you want to get on Iran's bad side?
I mean, no, probably not, because I mean, I kind of wish, I mean, they have to do this just because of, I mean, especially with, like, probably in their like, who are we what I'm confused about this is, who are we for fighting right now? Like, who
Who
are
are
we
we
for
fighting
invading?
for?
No, who are we
Who
for
are we
invading? Like,
for
who's
fighting?
the enemy now? Because it's gone from like,
Russia?
is it still Russia?
Or didn't we just
Remember
bomb
when we no,
Syria?
yeah, that's the thing. Like, we were just talking about Syria like 5 days ago, and then nobody talks about it anymore. Everyone just freaks out about Kanye West tweeting something.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, we bombed some anyway. Um, I get they have to do this. You would almost hope this is one of those situations where, like, the guy who has to keep things clean, who has to keep things proper, is like, I don't want to do this, but I mean, I kind of just have to, as this kind of company, the kind of money I'm dealing with,
Okay.
and other people's money. But
Let,
then
let's
he's
let's
like,
clarify the question a little better to help to get a more legit answer. If if Signal, let's say for whatever reason, you, me, and BTC was just taking over the world. I mean, we are, but let's say even more.
we're
Let's
like a
say
virus.
Signal let's say Signal came to me and said, or let's say I found out that Signal was using my website to to tunnel traffic into Iran. Like, that would scare the crap out of me. Like, it's no matter how much I hate censorship, that would, holy crap. No, I don't want to touch that, right? Or what would I do in that case?
I mean, I wouldn't be as worried for us. Like, they're probably not going to send like special ops unit. That would be pretty cool way to end the podcast, though. It's like, dude, they got killed by Iranians. Like, I'd be fine dying that way. But uh, more my idea with Google is because they are such a big company, and it's like, because they're so big and because they have to be so representative of like, they have to, I don't even know how you run a company like that. Like, you're kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
half of your company is maybe doing stuff, and then the rest of the half the company is making sure people like you, just constant, like, they
I
don't do anything else because they don't
I
really.
think of that every day, just the insanely wide range. They got self-driving cars, they got speakers that you can talk to. Like, they have their search engine, they have their app engine, they all kinds of stuff on Google Cloud Platform. That's what runs App Engine and a million other services about, image processing APIs. Google can look at an image and tell you there's two females in this picture and a dog and a baby, and just endless products from Google. They have physical phones, they have Chrome, the browser, they have laptops, Chromebooks. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and I just can't even imagine that kind of a scope. It's mind-boggling. So, in
Well,
terms
yeah,
of Iran, I mean,
that's what I'm saying, that like, because they have to be so connected, like, you mean BTC to exist and run doesn't have to be connected to like world politics, which is this point Google has to. Google's over here like freaking out, like, I I mean, they're freaking out anytime anything happens in the world, depending on, like, it's good and it's bad. But they have to be kind of beholden to a lot more of other people's money, where it's like you're probably not going to lose. Like, I don't know. I don't know that Iran is going to start a war over this, but or something. Like, what are they worried, or what would you be worried about? Is like, would you be worried about the US coming after you, or would you be worried about,
Oh, that's
like,
a
what do
good
you
question, but that's the problem. It could be both because Google, in this case, Google was mostly worried about the US. It's the US sanction law that scared
okay,
Google off.
okay,
But
that, and I
of
did,
course, Iran too is gonna not be happy with you either.
I saw, what was it? I was looking through it, something from Threat Post, and I think it said also that Google threatened them for the exact same thing too. And that's pretty much what you said. Um, but I get, again, why Google does it. I get why Amazon would do it now, but because they, I mean, they don't care. I you would hope that they would, but it seems like most of the time, especially with these tech guys, it's not like they're not particularly privacy minded a lot of the time, like the big ones, because that, like, that's their whole business is not that. So they're not going to have a good because, okay, I just got
My bad.
feedback from me this time. They kind of have to uh play all the angles for stuff. I don't know, you distracted me with that. I'm not exactly sure what I was saying. I'm sorry. Uh but I would, I get why people are attacking them, and why, well, you're not standing up for freedom, but at the same time it's like that's not what makes Amazon their money. That's
Right.
so, I, I see why. If I was in that, like, if you put me in that CEO chair, I'd probably do the same thing, just because it's like you can't support this, especially with, I mean, because nobody particularly likes privacy right now. No, like, official, everything is about just opening stuff up. Nobody, like, no
Yeah.
big, like, again, it's like those, like, maybe people have those text messaging apps that are like, oh, this has a different name but the same number, or something like that. But
I mean, I'd say we're making progress, even just in the past year or two. I think we're making progress towards people caring about privacy with all this Facebook drama that we've covered in the past few weeks. Some people are finally like, well, screw that. I'm not using Facebook. And, you know, there are companies as well with similar takes. I mean, some people point to Apple as respecting your privacy, but also some people just say, hey, yeah, right. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think we're making steps in the right direction. I've seen people that are just like, yeah, I don't use Facebook. Why would I use Facebook?
I,
I'm
I don't
it's
entirely,
we're getting there.
I don't entirely trust the people who do that, because more than half the reason you're leaving Facebook is because it's all baby boomers now. Like, it's just them on there with 5,000 pictures for of
Well,
nothing.
yeah, that
So
is a
it's like,
big factor.
I
Facebook's
don't want, yeah.
demographic is so old these days. I don't know. Average age has got to be like 50s or 60s.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of, so, like, anybody who is into social media at a higher level, or even just a younger person, has already probably gone to Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram, and Instagram is making all kinds of new, like, just doing video sharing, and pretty much just trying to take Snapchat. And but again, and I don't know. I don't want to talk about this shit for that. I don't want to talk about all these companies, because I feel like I'm doing something for them. But it's like, I don't see that as far as, like, us actually getting better. It's more just like we're more aware of it, but it's already happened. You're not stop, like, there's no stopping the having just, like, personalized ads and stuff like that. And that's not even like the malicious stuff. I'm not even, again, like, I think we've talked about, there is a certain people who, instead of not caring about privacy at all, then obsess over it, and we've talked about that. But
Well, let's cover the second half of the story here. I'll read the email from Amazon to Signal, and then we can wrap up this privacy debate here. Well, it's not really a debate, but just these musings on privacy. So this is, like I said, an email from Amazon to Signal, and I'll just read it word for word here. Moxie, presumably that's I don't know what he would call himself, the CEO, somebody that runs Signal. Moxie. Yesterday, AWS, that's Amazon Web Services, became aware of your GitHub and Hacker News /Y Combinator posts describing how Signal plans to make its traffic look like traffic from another site, popularly known as domain fronting, by using a domain owned by Amazon, souk.com. That's SOUQ.com. That's the domain they plan to use. You do not have permission from Amazon to use souk.com for any purpose. Any use of souk.com or any other domain to masquerade as another entity without express permission from the domain owner is in clear violation of the AWS service terms, Section 2.1. You must own or have all necessary rights to use any domain name or SSL certificate that you use in conjunction with Amazon CloudFront. It is also a violation of our acceptable use policy by falsifying the origin of traffic and the unauthorized use of a domain. We are happy for you to use AWS services, but you must comply with our terms. We will immediately suspend your use of CloudFront if you use third-party domains without their permission to masquerade as a third party. What a great gig there. Freaking masquerading as Amazon. I wish I could do that. I get people to send me all kinds of money. I'll just send them a couple ebooks.
That's all the goddamn complaints. Just, I didn't order this to the right place. Can you send this back, please?
Yeah.
No, they're just stealing. They're just stealing the U.S. Postal Service from us, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Trump said, right?
So how dare you use them? You're the only thing propping this old piece of shit thing up.
Using us, just like China is using us. That's what I don't get about Trump. Like, well, I mean, obviously we could talk about Trump for ages, but the only thing to prevent derailing this here, the only thing I want to say is, it's like people say exact opposite things about him, and that's why he's bad. So, like, people say he colluded with Russia, and then people say that he's gonna like nuke Russia. And same thing with China. People say he like works with China, and then some people say he like hates China. Anyway, so it's like nobody ever says anything when it comes to that. It's just like,
we just like arguing about like every single little new thing. It's the same thing that it seems like almost the exact same thing that happened with Obama. It was just Trump is just the Republican Obama, where they're coming from an outside way. They're kind of new for some reason, and then they just get like I wasn't old enough for. I was old enough for Bush. It didn't seem like this, and it seemed more on the conservative side, but conservatives are normally older and then just too lazy. They're not as loud, so there's not as many posts on the internet. But it does seem like it's just like, oh, we're just going to get this president to just complain about and just freak out about for 4 years while they just pass whatever they decide to do in those 4 years, and whatever happens.
Yeah.
Finish the.
We don't have to derail, but that was my one thought. Is like people say exact opposite things about him, and like it's always bad, no matter which opposite you say. Anyway, that was my thought. But no, that was the whole email. So they claim, they don't say anything about censorship. They claim that it's just a violation of our services. You're using our domain name and pretending you're masquerading as us, and we're not okay with that. Which on the one hand, like at face value, fine. Like I get that. I don't want people to masquerade as me. Maybe I do. Maybe I'm kinky like that. I don't know. But
play me.
But But no, you get that. It's just like, okay, yeah, don't pretend to be us. But I mean, come on, Amazon. Like, what? Can you have some sympathy for their efforts to evade
Well,
censorship? Like,
that's yeah, you can't have that in corporations. With that, like having a nuanced approach or any kind of a uh like taking the what's going on into consideration. Like they're doing this because this is what they can do to stop it. They can't be like, well, we need you to not just take it away from us. We need like or yeah, they can't really say anything. This is what I'm saying about how you hope the guy doing it doesn't want to, but I think this is just how a corporation has to work. You can't have any kind of like, oh, okay, we're gonna work with you here, but then we're not gonna work with you here because rightly so, they're gonna get just slammed probably with whatever way they go with this. uh, because at some point they would have, if they'd let this go on, eventually someone would have gone, oh, Amazon is using Signal to almost get us into a war with Iran, and it's going to blow. Like they're going to get hit no matter which way they go. This is going to seem more like conservative, which is probably something they would like. Um,
I did. I don't. I just thought it was funny looking at souk.com, SOUQ.com. Apparently, it's like an Islamic, like Amazon grocery. It just says "Welcome to Ramadan" and like has a bunch of groceries that they're trying to sell. So I thought that was kind of funny. Oh well, I guess they also sell. It's a lot like Amazon: perfume, home and kitchen, baby and toys.
says they have
Anyway, that's
45 million customers. They're the Amazon company, the largest e-commerce site in the Arab world. 9 million products. So yeah, they're pretty big. They can spare a little time to get some porn in there for those guys, apparently. Or wait, is Iran one of the one that were they? What does Iran block necessarily? Because like
I
China,
don't have the slightest clue.
because like China just kind of what do they? I don't know about them either, but yeah, you wish they would have like no, yeah, fuck Iran. Like let's just give people the internet, but
Well, the reason I would, like I was saying, it's like, come on, Amazon. The reason I get that feeling, even though I know what you're saying, I know they can't in a lot of ways, but it just seems like that's like such an important thing in America is even though it's ironic sometimes because people say it and they don't really mean it. They only want free speech for themselves or whatever. But still, like you got to think like it's so clear what we're trying to do here. This is America. But we believe in journalism. We believe in free speech. We believe in whistleblowers. Like, how can you not okay this? Like, how are you getting away with this?
well, I mean, because we don't, but
I know. That's what I mean. It's like ironic. Everyone says they agree with free speech, except when it's Edward Snowden and the military, because if you hurt our military, I'll come after you.
he ran away to Russia. We threw the last one into a cage until.
Yeah, no, I know that no one actually believes in free speech for everyone. No one actually wants to stop censoring other people, which we had this discussion a little bit on Signal, talking just the other day, talking about censorship or free speech. I we don't have to get into all of it now, but still, all I'm saying is, even though nobody really does believe in free speech, everyone says they does, and America is like supposed to be so founded on it. So and anti-censorship or whatever, and protection of journalists or whatever. So it's like, Amazon, come on, this is so clear. There's nothing bad, there's not, like, yes, you could send kiddie porn over Signal, but that is not even remotely in the discussion here. The discussion here is they
now.
are shutting. No, what I'm saying is, in theory, there is nothing at all bad to worry about here. In theory, Amazon should be the hero for allowing communication in a place where they're censoring people. Yeah, obviously any communication could be used for bad purposes, but that's not part of the discussion. The discussion is as simple as They should be allowed to communicate. The journalists should be allowed to get information out of the country without getting their heads chopped off. And Amazon's just like, nah. Like, how are they getting away with that?
I don't know what else to tell you besides just that because we don't, and they know that we don't, and they know that Iran isn't gonna like it, and they know that I was just trying to look up and see because I was trying to figure out what exactly is the whole deal between us and them. There was the revolution back in the 80s, and then since then we've kind of like on and off again, been like, we're gonna invade, and then we're like, no, we don't. And it's kind of the same thing. Not it's more full throttle than like North Korea, but it's kind of like that same idea. But the thing is, I could definitely see, depending on who then puts pressure, is then we get people start, this is an overstep by the U.S. military or the U.S. country government while we drone strike random countries. This will be brought up as the thing, like you're trying to, like what I said, you're trying to start a war here. You're antagonizing them. They like it's people are going to make it up. And again, like as Amazon, and because like they run that company, what if they lose that 49 million? What did I say, like a day or a week? What would I fuck,
I don't know. I think
but
just
it's like
total
that's
45
all.
million customers.
Yeah, 45 million customers. Like if they lose that, like which you would hope that they wouldn't, but if somehow like they have to think about, like if we lose that, there's a lot of people just
Do
going on
you
the chopping
think?
block.
I know that neither of us are know much of anything about the like average Joe culture over there, but do you think there are actually people that would do that? They're like, hey, in Iran, say, are there people that are like, yeah, we should be censoring this kind of stuff, and if Amazon, if souk.com lets them through, I'm not going to shop at Souk anymore. Are there people, average Joes, that would actually think that way, or do we think that's just the government?
Anything the government does there's never this, like in any dystopian movie or story, there's just these people just like 90% of the population is horrifically oppressed, and they get really angry eventually, and then the movie or the book comes in whenever they decide to rise up against it. But most
Or
of the
they don't.
time,
There's
yeah, no, that's what
plenty
I'm
of
saying. Most of
people.
the time, hmm?
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, tell me if this is what you're going to say, but there are plenty of people who are almost like Stockholm syndrome. They're like absorbed with their oppression and they just accept it and almost love it, right?
Yeah, but that I was gonna probably end up saying that, but I was more saying that the government does things something like with the mass approval. Like generally, we're not like completely happy with it, but the government doesn't do things that under 51% of people are again or are for. Um, the government, even in like a dictatorship, I don't buy this whole, like most of the time the citizens, like the average citizen is okay with like whether it's because you're saying that you're defending yourself for war, or it's like religious reasons. I would say that because the government is doing it, there is probably again I don't know what like religion is, like is Iran, is that, is the government secular, or is that
I don't have the
okay?
slightest clue.
Like maybe if the government is tied in with the religion, I could definitely see them doing it for that reasons, but then most likely most of the people in the country are then also for that for those reasons. I wouldn't be worried as much about a boycott, but just if then yeah, like those countries were just like no, and we're also going to check the price of oil up or something like that. But
then Tim gets worried. As soon as Iran jacks the prices of oil, Tim's like, all right, it's over.
I paid $32 today to fill up a sedan. I paid like 22 months ago, and nobody gives a fuck.
Oh, geez. All right.
Everyone's just like,
Hey,
hey, it
guys.
just happens.
For the time being, we're going to call it quits on Signal and Amazon because we got some more stuff to cover. But I want to keep this discussion going because I'm genuinely curious about what everyone thinks. You know, if you were Amazon, what the heck would you do? If you were Google, what would you do? If you were an average Joe in Iran or an average Mohammed in Iran, what would you do? I want this discussion to continue. And the way you can do that is tweet us at you, me, and BTC, or leave a comment on our website or wherever the heck, on YouTube, wherever you are. I want to know your thoughts. And well, I'm sure, obviously, after another 240 episodes, we'll get around to this topic again once or twice. So we'll keep this going. I am going to go ahead and roll out our commercial here for a moment. I'll ask you to bear with us, and we'll come back and chat about Samourai wallet. We covered them just last week, and I found some more interesting info about them. So that's coming up in just a second. BRB. Hey guys, today's show is brought to you by Chronologic.network. Chronologic is an Ethereum-based project that aims to solve time-related problems on the blockchain. Through Chronologic's 3 core products, the Ethereum alarm clock, debt smart contracts, and the day token minting mechanism, they solve the problems of payment scheduling, crypto loan time constraints, and unstable token launches. Find out more at chronologic.network. So another thing I want to do is, before we move on, is remind you to vote in our poll. That's at you, me, and btc.com/live. It'll be open all week. So if you're listening later, then head over there anyway and check out the poll. The question is, should Amazon allow Signal app to use their domain names to provide service to censored countries? Real simple question. It's exactly what we've been covering. I want to know what people think. So drop a vote. You, me, and btc.com/live. So far, it's 100%. Absolutely. They should allow them to do it. So, all right. Kudos to all you. Because I agree, but still, it's got to be scary if you're actually Amazon and trying to just the U.S. is after you with their sanction law, and Iran is after you for getting around censorship. It's got to be scary. Anyway, Tim, do you mind? You can decline to answer if you think it's just a general security thing, but do you mind if I ask you what wallet you use on your Android phone?
I have used my Celium. I pretty much have everything off my phone. Although I do have an old phone that I still have not figured out the code to, which I have on my Celium. So tell me they fucking lost it all, so I can just break the fucking thing. Because I'm tired.
Seriously, Tim. Worst case scenario, it's probably 4 digits, and say they lock you out. Oh,
no,
it's more.
It's the finger thing. It's the
Yeah.
I have you ever seen Seven? Do you have any idea? It's a movie with a serial killer, and the guy just has multiple, just thousands of notebooks lined up in his room. I have that, but for the different designs I could have done. I wait like months in between the things, so it resets between locking me out, and then that one didn't work. Oh well, that one. But yeah, my Celium on my phone.
Okay. All right. So yeah, last week, which you should really catch it if you haven't yet, the way that you can get to any of our episodes is with this pattern. You, me, and btc.com/E239. That, since today's 240, then 239 will get you to last week's episode, and you can do that same pattern for any of our shows. You, me, and btc.com/E239. But yeah, so last week we had some discussion about wallets because of some drama around, BIP70 and the payment protocol, and BitPay forcing people to use the payment protocol. Is a great episode. We had the CEO of cheapair.com. joining us. So check that out. But that got us discussing Samourai Wallet, which I said last week, I've heard of them before. I've heard that they were pretty much the most featureful wallet for Android. And, any feature you could think of, they probably had it implemented. All kinds of stuff, replace by fee, child pays for parent, whatever, SegWit, whatever you could think of, some sort of Bitcoin wallet feature, they probably have it. But we learned today, just today, the 3rd of May, that they released an update with even more features. So I figured we might as well cover it since we've been talking about Samourai. And I'll go ahead and flip on my screen share again so that we can scan through this list. The first one is called Bech32 or Bech maybe, Bech 32. And as far as I can tell, that's just a different wallet address format that is particularly for SegWit. So I don't know the specific benefits of it, so I won't cover too much of that one. But it's a new address format, and they support it now. It's not backwards compatible. So if you boot up Samourai Wallet and show a Bech32 address, and someone with the old, I don't know, Mycelium wallet or whatever tries to scan it, the old wallet will probably reject it. But anyway, they have Bech32 addresses. The more interesting thing, and I said a lot in the show notes that we were going to be talking about privacy, and this is really where it comes in. Boltzmann and STONEWALL. And I'll just read a little bit straight out of this blog post. Since December 2017, when Samourai acquired the OXT block exploration platform, we have been working closely with OXT privacy and fungibility engineers to audit the transactions that Samourai Wallet creates, looking for fingerprints and metadata that could be extracted from public transaction data by blockchain analysis companies. Now, before we go any further, this is an important concern to mention. I'm sure we've covered it once or twice on the show, but maybe not as much as we should. Tim, what do you know about blockchain analysis? Has that ever worried you? This kind of them understanding or knowing what addresses are yours and where your money's going all day, every day?
Yeah, I mean, this I think was where I think I saw it going. I'm not surprised that this is like where it's gonna get set up this way. Ever since it got past probably $500, it was probably headed that way. So
Yeah.
I get completely, yeah, okay, you're gonna get this Bitcoin, but it's gonna be pretty watched over. It's gonna be very
Right.
very structured into some kind of an initial framework instead of just giving as money to people, which again, like Venezuela is bad. We've talked about that before, but if you look at anything with our country too, it's bad here. Like it's not good. Like as far like we're gonna keep on going, but as far as like it being a sound money, like we're only existing now on however many military things we can make and then sell and then start another war. Like, we've been in a war for 70 years just to kind of keep up that little bit of, well, we can always sell this shit. So I think it makes me kind of feel bad because it isn't just this, well, we're just going to share money between people. It's going to be this, well, we need to be able to watch it because what happens if you accidentally send it to the wrong place? And then we're also, because it's gonna come in this like, oh well, we're just trying to make sure you do it right. Just like a very maternal, like, we just don't want you to lose your money. That's all we want to do. And
we're just trying to watch over you.
Yeah, just let us help you. You're a little guy and you need just some help. You can't be spending all this money by yourself. We need to
I
make
know
sure.
I have to take your money, and trust me, it hurts you. It hurts me more than it hurts you. But I just have to take your money, and I'll give it a little bit back to you. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be great for taxes.
Yeah, I mean, we've been covering, I mean, since the beginning of our show, super early episodes. I remember talking about CoinJoin and mixers and stuff like that, and then whitelists and blacklists we've covered before. So we've covered these concerns, and exchanges get hacked, and then you trace the Mt. Gox coins and see where they're going to get spent, all kinds of stuff like that. So we've known this is a concern, and we've known that it has to be dealt with. And that is what Samourai is attempting to do, at least mitigate. Definitely not eliminate, but at least mitigate some of these issues. I'll keep reading here. One part of this audit process involves running transactions through a script called Boltzmann, Boltzmann. Boltzmann returns the entropy of the transaction, which measures the linkability of inputs to outputs of a given transaction by determining the number of individual mappings of the inputs to the outputs used in the transaction. The higher the entropy, the more resistant to address/identity clustering techniques used by blockchain analysis companies, as the element of doubt connecting ownership addresses by any entity is too great and may pollute the entire cluster. So the idea is that you just plain complicate and complexify your transactions. That's what CoinJoin did by kind of combining your transactions with any other old party's transactions. There could easily be 10, 20, 30 people involved in a CoinJoin transaction, and they would all kind of mix the coins together and mix the coin outputs as well. And I don't know. I actually haven't seen CoinJoin used recently. I think it would be still around, but I haven't seen it. So maybe it's not. But anyway, yeah. So this is a similar idea. It just complexifies your transaction. I don't know if it involves other parties in this particular case. I don't see any mention of other parties getting involved to kind of join and mix up your coins. It could be yourself. You could be your own mixer, right? Some altcoins actually implement, just mixing. They'll just send random transactions all the time just to complicate the blockchain and make it harder to track. And they'll generate new addresses all the time for that reason. So similar idea here. I look forward to more privacy from this. And I would like to think, I don't know this for sure, but I would like to think that some privacy solutions benefit everyone, even if only a fraction of people implement it. I don't know any specifics. This is just this weird thought that I've had. But I'd like to think that even if only 30 people use CoinJoin or use Stonewall or use mixers or whatever, I'd like to think that immediately kind of removes what's the word? Plausible deniability. It immediately gives plausible deniability to everyone else, because you could say, well, maybe it was someone else's coins. Like, yeah, you'd think I own that address, but it was a CoinJoin transaction, maybe. Now that example in particular doesn't work, because you could tell if coins go from one address to another address. That's not a CoinJoin transaction. But I'd like to think there are some examples out there. What I really want to see is a way to securely share private keys, because I don't know how the heck that could be done. But if it's possible, all of a sudden, every single transaction on the blockchain, you have no clue. Even if you know someone's address, like, well, what if they shared their private key securely somehow with someone, and only one person can use it at a time? It sounds totally impossible. Like, private keys information, how does only one person use it at a time? Information's copyable. all that stuff. So I get it. I get it's totally impossible. I know we've seen so many mind-boggling innovations in Bitcoin already, and I would like to think that that kind of stuff is possible, because even if it only comes up in the future, it instantly nullifies all past transactions. Because what if it wasn't invented till the future, but what if maybe they did know how to do that back then? Plausible deniability. Maybe I was sharing my private key. Anyway, that's a bit of a rant there. It's just this totally weird thought that I had. Anything to add, Tim? I don't know if you think that could be possible. Are you a mathematician, encryptionologist that knows if
Yeah.
that could be?
I saw a calculus homework on Snapchat the other day, and I was like, "What is this gibberish?" Um, yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea, and it definitely is there. However much that will, or anything like that, will actually hold up.
I like to
Because
think, again, I said I like to think 100 times tonight, because no matter how much I think that I have plausible deniability, they could still just take me to court and say, "Nope, sorry, you're done." So still,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I
that's
would
the
like to
problem.
think, yeah,
We
I
don't
agree.
care. What?
Say, screw your plausible deniability. But
So,
still, I would like to
yeah,
think
no,
I'd like to think we're close already. I mean, extremely close, because, well, what the heck? What if I literally did share my private key? Even if we don't have encryption or whatever, what if just for the sake of security, what if I literally did share some private keys with Tim? All of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, now what do we do? And that is plausible deniability, if you ask me. Like, that could happen. It's like when people say, like, people could steal your Wi-Fi network and watch kitty porn. Like, actually, yeah, you're right. So why should I ever get in trouble for anything that ever happens on my
I,
Wi-Fi?
I want the
Not that I'm doing
advice
that,
right
but
now. Get somebody as your fall guy to watch kitty porn on your Wi-Fi. Get him arrested, and then just be like, any further traffic from there was some kind of a virus that was dropped on there, and you're good. Apparently, that's advice of the week.
oof.
Uh,
I do not condone that advice. I'm just getting that out there. Tim
no,
and I are
no, that's good
sharing
advice. That's good advice. Get a pedophile thrown in jail. That's all I said.
fall. You said he was a fall guy, though, and you said it would that activity would continue.
No, what I'm saying is, because they could just use that excuse to just raid your place, you have an out for that. That takes away one of their avenues.
Okay. Well, anyway, Tim and
It's
I
not
are
a good
sharing
plan, regardless.
we're sharing the YouTube airwaves right now, and anything he says is not necessarily my opinion. That's all I'm trying to say. We are sharing private YouTube keys right now.
uh,
So he's
wait,
my
what did you?
fall guy.
Yeah, no, exactly. I typically am. Look at me. Um, can you repeat your question? If I didn't already.
Yeah, what was my question? Oh, yeah, like, what do you think it's possible that we already all have plausible deniability, or that we will in the future? Like effective, like actually useful plausible deniability.
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
All right. All right.
Uh,
All right. I feel you there. Like I said, I'd like to think that we might even already, but I definitely understand that. Yeah, right. They're gonna put you in prison anyway. So
it's going to be
we'll see.
interesting to see where. Yeah, exactly. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what the kind of general public, because at some point, I keep on thinking about this too, and I'm thinking about it with people in Bitcoin. But like, when do we get to the part where like the people just start dying? Like, because it seems like everybody. This isn't with Bitcoin, but like the government, and then I mean positions. We're gonna have that kind of generational switch. I think coming soon. I get that it happens uh every single day. Yeah, every single day even, but I think there is going to be something of a switch over to where, and I just don't see enough love for privacy in that sense in the people who I think, and like how I see people around me kind of talking about it. There's kind of this flippant, well, I like privacy, but yeah, well, sometimes people use it for bad things. So like, yeah, that's more what I'm seeing. I'm not even that. And like you said, like they just don't need probable cause. It doesn't, they can manufacture it if they really need to. So, um, But yeah,
Got
you
it.
said you wanted to explain third-party cookies. I don't know if you want to go over.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll do it. I'll try to do it in 2 minutes. Basically, it's where, wait, maybe I feel like maybe I just did this a week or two ago. I don't know. Maybe I was telling someone else. Oh well, if you get it again, you get it again. It's basically where, if I'm on even on you, me, and BTC, we use Google Analytics. I know, but we do. And the Google, when your browser, you're on my website, but Google sends a request, but my website tells your computer to send a request to Google to log your page view. And that request to Google normally includes cookies and information. It could be any information, arbitrary information, but usually it's an identifier. And it's that simple. So when you go across all these websites, Google knows that you're the same person. They know who you are when you go to my website, and they know that you're the same person when you go to, I don't know, pick another website. YouTube, I guess. They probably use Google Analytics because they're owned by Google. It doesn't matter. Like 90% of websites use Google Analytics. So whatever site you go to, they know that you're the same person. But if you disable third-party cookies, your browser, it will still send that request to Google. When you go to my website and trigger this Google Analytic, page view request, it will still send that page view request, but it won't include the cookies. It's called third party because you're on you, me, and BTC.com, and you're the second party, and the third party is Google Analytics. That's the third party. And you just instruct your browser not to send cookies to that website. So it'll still send the request. It just won't get that unique identifier in the cookie. So Google will not know that you're the same person that was on YouTube 30 seconds ago. And that's why, I believe anyway, that's why the YouTube chat will not work on our website if you have third-party cookies disabled, because it's trying to load the YouTube chat, but YouTube doesn't know who you are because YouTube's not getting your cookie. YouTube just thinks you're a brand new user that just showed up with no cookie. And I don't know. I hope I explained that somewhat well. Does that make sense, Tim?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All it does is it means that when you're on one website and when that website is trying to talk to other websites, it does not include some extra information. That's what it means when you turn off third-party cookies. So I'll go ahead and make that my advice of the week, my tip of the week. That is how third-party cookies work, and you might consider turning them off. And same thing with Facebook. There are Facebook like buttons and comment widgets, and it's called the Facebook pixel all over the web. And if you turn off third-party cookies, then all of a sudden they don't know who you are. Like they'll still log that you've viewed this page, but they don't know like that you were on this other website 10 seconds ago because they don't have that cookie identifier. So that's my tip of the week. Consider turning those off, and that can help a whole bunch of privacy ways. Obviously, I've been saying for several months now, I recommend the brand new sped up Mozilla Firefox. All right, guys, it's been real. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for helping me beta test my new setup here. Like I said, I'm sure I got more to come. What do you need, Tim?
Well, that's not my actual tip, but I don't really have anything better anyway. So, again, another reminder, focus, stay on, like, pay attention to stuff. Don't just use, because you never know, like what I did. I didn't even notice anything about Signal. So I would have just kept on using the thing after Amazon just had them running them in the New York Times. I wouldn't have even known. But yeah, have a good week. Thanks. Thank you, Daniel. You sound amazing.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Hey, everyone, come back next Thursday. We'll be live 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Once again, obviously, make sure you check out Tim's 2 Cents every Monday and Zach's The Coin Pod every Tuesday. Those are some baller shows, and you should check them out. and we'll see you in a week. This is check out, in the meantime, everything you need is at you, me, and BTC.com. Peace out.
Bye, guys.